could see a Fortis Proactive Defense Solutions tonight. I am talking to a distinguished guest again, Craig Pederson, owner of TCG Forensics down in Cape Town. I'm going to give you a rundown on Craig's CV just now, just to lay the groundwork. But tonight we'll be talking about pensioners specifically and online scams. Craig, good evening and welcome.
My friend, always good to be here. Thank you so much for having me on the show again.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I'm certain that the viewers, they'll always learn something from this. So just a little bit background on Craig, for those of you who don't know him by now. He's the owner of TCG Forensics, based down in Cape Town. He's a leading expert in digital forensics, cybercrime, and fraud investigations. He's also a forensic practitioner and cybercrime investigator with extensive experience of Ponzi schemes and commercial crimes. He's a registered fraud examiner, a member of AIFCI, member of the South African Academy of Forensic Scientists, a fellow of the Internet Services Provider Association of South Africa. He authored a book called Investigator's Guide to Open Source Intelligence, and last but not least, he is a highly sought after international speaker on these matters and an overall nice guy. Craig, thank you. Let's kick off. This specific conversation when a friend of mine told me about a mum who has been scammed again. And she saw the previous videos that we made, and she said to me, isn't there a possibility that you speak with Craig and do something more specifically aimed at the older generation who are not as computer savvy, something that can be distributed all over the place? I said to her, let me speak to Craig, and this tonight is the result. Craig, why are pensioners targeted so much? What makes them such ripe targets for these scumbags?
Rihanna's perfect question. There are several reasons why pensioners specifically are targeted. The first one is that pensioners are targeted because of their age range. They're not as technologically savvy. They did not grow up in the era of technology, whizzing around keyboards, holding little controllers. They're late adopters to technology. So they're not always as tech savvy as they should be. And they were brought up in an era where we're polite. We trust people organically. People used to come door to door and sell at our homes, and we'd invite the encyclopedia man into our home. So our parents are from that era and that culture of politeness, and that can be taken advantage of. The second is that pensioners worry that their pensionable income when they get there is not going to be enough to see them through. And with the increasing cost of medical aids and basic foodstuffs, electricity, this becomes really difficult for them. And they'll seek out opportunities to double their money, get unrealistic returns, because they know what the need is going forward. There's an old expression that money doesn't grow on trees. It grows on time. And unfortunately, we didn't learn that in our 20s. We weren't worried by pensions and retirement. It's only when we get to our 50s and 60s that the reality of not having enough time to accumulate real compounded interest becomes a problem. And the opportunity to double down and invest in something that's going to double your money within a year, well, it's very appealing to those people. Finally, pensioners are easily targeted. It's very easy for scammers to drill in and really target the demographic of people that are on pension, that have got access to bonds or paid up properties or investment income or a drawdown from the pension, or are widowed and perhaps they've inherited from a spouse and are not financially savvy because the spouse used to handle that aspect of their relationship. So those are some of the causative factors of why pensioners are specifically targeted online, and why there are such a ripe market for cyber criminals who really have no morals or ethical standards at all. That's why they're criminals.
And of course, I think a lot of times that you also get that the person in question that's being targeted is also just lonely. And now this guy targets them and starts smooth talking them about all kinds of things, and granny or grandpa thinks, this is amazing, somebody's actually talking to me.
Yep. They wake up, and there's no polite way to put it. We take the worst parts of society, murderers, serial killers, rapists, professional criminals, and we send them to jail. Why do we do that? Because they're not safe to have in our society, so we put them in isolation, where they talk to nobody, they interact with people for maybe an hour a day, and other than that, they sit in a 16 square meter room. And then we treat our elderly the same way.
That's true.
And when you think about it, nobody wants to admit that, but it's actually the same thing. And in their older years, people tend to become isolated. Their hearing starts to go, so they retract from engagement with people. The people around them may not have the same interests or life experience, so they don't interact very much, and it can become lonely. They turn on a computer, and Elon Musk wants to talk to them. A famous businessman engages with them.
Yep.
And they're from that generation of invite the encyclopedia salesman inside to have a cup of tea and talk. Door-to-door sales are acceptable, and we're polite. We're polite with people. And when you add those factors together, it makes for a pretty nasty combination in victim profiling. And cyber criminals are very good at that.
It paints a very grim picture as to the type of person you are dealing with here in terms of the criminal itself. I mean, it's very callous. They know all of these things that you mentioned now. That's why they target them. And they basically go all in to try and get their money out of them. That's a little bit of devilry at work as far as I'm concerned, honestly.
I could use some choice words. Let's just say I'll settle for scum.
Yeah.
If they were engaging with a pensioner who had a life savings of R1 million, and they were trying to scam them out of 10,000 Rand because they need to eat, there's a human part of me that doesn't condone it, but kind of understands it in a way. But they're not. If a pensioner's got R1 million, they want 1.1, 1.2. They want to push that person to the point of borrowing money from their friends, getting friends involved. And the debauchery that goes with that and the impact. How do you commit that crime, walk away, knowing the person whose money you've taken is now going to be destitute, has no money for medical aid, no source of income, and will now hopefully be able to depend on their children to look after them. And the children are going to be resentful for having to do that if they can find the money to help cover that loss.
So to our viewers on that point, that nice guy that's interacting with you on Facebook or WhatsApp all of a sudden, this is quite possibly the kind of person that he really is. You should take notice of that. Craig, I'm going to move on to the next one. Why is it so important to inform?
Sorry, Leon, I couldn't hear that one.
I said, why is it so important to stay informed?
The information is critical. The ongoing information is critical. Why do I help do segments like this? Because if we don't take the time to educate our own parents and our own children, Nobody else is going to do it for us. It's not enough to protect ourselves. We have to protect the people around us. And we have to give them current information, because the nature of the scams changes all the time. We've seen romance scams. They come and they go in waves. We've seen investment scams and crypto scams and ETF Forex scams. They come and they go in waves. They reach a saturation point, they go quiet for a while. Recently, we saw a big increase in postal scams. We've seen crypto scams, we've seen fake policeman scams, we've seen all forms of Forex and investment scams ebb and flow over time. It changes, it's evolutionary. One of the popular ones we saw a month ago was a postal service scam, where a so-called police officer calls you, tells you a parcel for you has been intercepted from Shane or Timu, and it contains drugs. And if you don't pay an immediate spot fine, they're going to process a warrant of arrest. And they try to transfer your call to a police officer. Now, you and I know that if you pick up the phone now and phone the police station, you won't get an answer, at least not for 25 minutes, let alone be able to transfer you to another policeman or put a policeman on a Zoom conference with you. That's not going to happen. Not realistically to the average case. It's a scam, but it specifically targets the elderly, and it seeks out people who are following Timu and Shane as profiles. In a month's time, it will be different, and they'll revert to a new one. So they go in waves. And the reason that the flow of information and constant updates is necessary, it emerges and it evolves. As technology changes, so do the scam offerings. Mainstream AI like ChatGPT arrives. Everybody's talking about it. There's a buzz, there's a hype. We have we have an AI bot that trades Forex for you. Do nothing, you'll get 30% return. The hype is there. And it sounds credible because this is kind of what everybody around you is talking about. So it evolves, and it's important that the elderly and those who are not as technologically aware are informed and kept up to date regularly on what is a new type of scam. What are they using to get to you next?
Can we, on that point, maybe you can just run through some of the more well-known and latest and more, can I say, popular scams that they are using?
Taxes. Okay, no, seriously. But yes, taxes. Apart from taxes, the current flavors of the year are fake policeman scams. I'm a police officer. You've been accused of the following. If you're willing to pay a spot fine, we can make this go away. Now, any policeman who is obviously doing that would be committing an offense himself in the process. It's not going to happen. No matter what he says on the phone, come to my local police station. Let's go inside and we can talk. I'll bring my attorney with me if necessary. Get rid of those guys quickly. Fake OTP scams or fake fraud department scams. Rian, this is Chris. I'm calling from whatever bank, from the fraud department. We've just noticed a suspicious transaction on your account. Before we proceed, these calls are recorded for quality control and training purposes, as well as for your own safety. I am Kwesi from whichever bank fraud department. Did you place a transaction for 250,000 Rand at Hi-Fi Corporation this afternoon in Menlo Park? What? Mr. Kachia, for your own safety, I need to confirm your details. Is your ID number? And I read it to you. Do you still live at? And I read it to you. Do you still work at? And I read this to you. And it's yes, yes, yes. Mr. Kachia, would you like us to block that transaction? Yes. Mr. Kachia, no problem. I am from the fraud department. This call is recorded for quality control and security purposes. I am now going to send you a PIN number to confirm we're blocking this transaction, and we are going to return the funds to your account. I will need you to read that PIN number back to me. big red warning lights. The bank's never going to ask you to read a PIN number to you. If they sent you the PIN number, they know what it is. They don't need you to read it back. But they're so convincing with the pitter-patter off of a sheet and the fact that they have your personal details that it is kind of convincing. Stop, go into the branch. If it's that important, go to the branch, but you do not give those details out over the phone. Really common one these days, specifically targeting the elderly. The next is, of course, investment scams. Now, I know this is tragic, but what's the expression? Listen carefully. Elon Musk does not need your money. Anton Rupert does not need 4,500 Rand from you. He's doing okay. And when people at that level need to fundraise, it's done in a venture capital market and directly with the banks over lunch. They don't go to the public and ask for funds, ever. Elon did not go to the public and ask everyone to chip in $50 to buy Twitter. You know, it's just not how it works. Any of those are going to be scams. We see them all the time. Invest in crypto. Okay, stop. Unless you understand cryptography and the purpose of a cryptographic hash and a cryptographic transaction, stay away from it. You will lose your money at the end. Nothing good will happen there. Those are all over. If it promises you anything more than 20% above the bank's prevailing interest rate, so let's just call that 30% per year, not per month, per year. It is an illegal scheme to end. That's the law, because it's not possible. Nobody's going to promise you those returns because you can't achieve them. The higher return, the higher the risk. When the return becomes unrealistic, so does the risk. Okay? And I know it sounds basic, but we have to drill these fundamentals home. We, especially our pensioners, our parents, have worked so hard to accumulate what they have over their lifetime. You've actually got to protect it as much as you protect your own personal security. These are just a couple of the common scams that are doing the rounds at the moment. And some of them can be quite convincing. Others are just plain whatever.
I want to ask you about this specifically, where people get contacted on places like Facebook. I mean, that happens every day. You make a comment somewhere on a page or whatever, and the next moment there's Elon Musk commenting to say, "Oh, I'd love to be your friend, you know, but I can't connect with you. Please send me a friend invite." That happens. I mean, the moment that happens, we ought to know what's going on here. But I think it becomes more problematic when they start maybe doing that and sending you inboxes, or they start using this flowing language where they start telling you basically how amazing they think you are, without ever having met you, just like that. What is the final outcome of something like that? Where are they heading with you if you take the bait and you start running with this smooth talker on the other side?
Everything is going to come down to money at the end of the day. It is. And we've seen a lot of variations of this, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to building a rapport. And one of the common things that they do is, I'm working on an offshore oil rig. I'm off between 8 and 9 every morning. So I'll contact you between 8 and 9. You think I'm working on an oil rig. You get used to between 8 and 9, we chat for a while. I tell you how beautiful you are. And I make jokes. I tell you how engaging your company is, and I pander to your ego. I'm trying to build rapport with you. I agree with you all the time. We talk about the sun. We talk. Disturbing when I suddenly shut up, isn't it? Because I've engaged and you're used to that day, and then I stop. Suddenly you get
Yeah.
another message that says, can't talk, phone broken, sorry. Sure, I miss your company. Can I send you a new phone? Funnily enough, if you send me $5,000, I can get a new phone on an oil rig in the middle of nowhere, and I'll give it back to you when I'm on shore. Those things inevitably start with the first lure is get the person to buy you a gift or send you something. Now, you've got to be careful because a lot of this, we've seen them use it in reverse. I don't want you to send me money. Give me your bank account details. I want to send you some money.
Yes.
And I magically send you 100,000 Rand. Wow. Oh, Rian, I'm so sorry. I meant to send you 10,000 Rand. Do me a favor. Send the 90 to my friend. You've just received 10,000 Rand for laundering money through your very legitimate bank account. The 100,000 comes from a victim, and I'm using your banking credibility over the last 40 years to launder the funds. You think you've got a 10,000 Rand gift and a beautiful friend who just wants to send you something nice. But in fact, I've just laundered money through your account. And sooner or later, someone's going to be going, why did you receive 100,000 Rand from this victim? So yes, if they can't get money out of you, they'll try and use as a conduit or mule to their operation, and they'll slip the money through that way. And these guys are pretty convincing. I mean, this is what they do for a living. Yeah. And to put it in context, a really a bad scammer with low skills, low technology, one laptop, one data connection, can earn 150,000 Rand a month tax-free illegally. It's easy. Wow. There's no shortage of victims. There's no shortage of angles and scams if you're creative. It is unfortunately that lucrative. The chances of being detected are so low that it is worth the risk to them. And you've got to remember, I mean, the next question is obviously, but why don't the police do something? Well, they do. However, you're in Cape Town. The scammer is actually in Pakistan, and the money is moved through a bank account in Hong Kong. You have 3 separate jurisdictions, 3 police forces, 1 victim, 1 suspect, 1 bank. And somehow all of these have to communicate in terms of international law, not local law. And the evidence you have in South Africa has to be translated to other languages, taken to a court, presented to a court. And a policeman in South Africa can't just communicate with a policeman in another country. That request must follow a channel so it's properly done in the correct way through the Department of International Relations in corporate. 8 months later. So unfortunately, the reality is that the process of investigating, it can be very time consuming in cybercrimes because of the different jurisdictions, and some jurisdictions just don't respond. They have other priorities, and helping another country is low on their list. That's a reality. But the process between countries is very time consuming. There's language barriers to overcome. The police in Pakistan, you may or may not get somebody who's conversant in English and can understand a legal document written in English. We probably will, or we definitely will not understand a legal court document written in Hindi. Someone has to help. So the process, once the horse is bolted and the money's been stolen, to recover it, it's very long, very time consuming, and you're looking at years, not days, if you can recover it. So because the risk and the path to recovery of stolen funds in a cyber environment is so long, you exponentially increase the risk. You have to be 10 times as careful before you take that risk, because law enforcement may honestly want to help you, but may not be able to because of complex jurisdictional issues and the technological aspect.
Craig, okay, so we've spoken about why pensioners are targeted so much. We've spoken about why it's so important to stay informed. We've spoken about common scams. Let's talk a little bit about what people can do to beat the scammers. What do you do to stay ahead of this curve?
Yeah, Rian, you have to stay informed with what are the latest scams. You have to learn to be distrusting. Just because it's on the internet does not mean it's true. Just because one or two of your friends are telling you it's a good investment doesn't mean it's true. When people like the bank phone you, that's a serious interaction. It's about your money. Get in your car, go to the bank. If the bank is so insistent on seeing you, they can also come to you. Go to a branch. Don't do it over a phone. Don't do it over email. If someone's offering you an investment and it sounds really good, insist that they send it to you in writing and that you're allowed to show it to your lawyer or accountant. Most scams will stop there because they don't want you to get a second opinion. Before you go click, click, and ding dong and order on that website that's offering you 30% off your favorite brands, is it really the website you think it is? Or is it something that some scammer has just cobbled together to look like the latest Gucci or Chanel website? Or even worse, your latest whiskey website, and you're going to be buying a bottle of tea instead. Now that would be terrible. You've got to learn to be distrusting. As terrible as that sounds, and it's a lifetime of habit to get out of, but to preserve that money that you have and your financial future, you have to, because it's not just about money, Rian. It's about the number of people that I've dealt with over the years that have lost their homes. Their children don't want to talk to them anymore because they see it as having squandered their inheritance. Their wives or their partners don't want to talk to them. They're in their elderly years and they can't afford life-saving medical aid because the money's lost to a scammer. They're desperate to recover it. And magically an email arrives saying, I'm a hacker. I can help you. They can't. They're trying to bleed you further based on desperation. Check with somebody. Have that lifeline. Pick up a phone. Phone somebody who's more tech savvy, more investment savvy. If you've traversed the last 40 years of your life and you've never actively invested in the markets, in shares, in stocks and bonds and ETFs, cryptos, etc., now is not the time to start. Now is not the time to start. Now is the time to be financially prudent with what you have and take good advice from reputable sources. You've got to cut them off the knees by being suspicious.
And I think a lot of people battle with that, being naturally suspicious. Another friend of mine told me a week or so ago, a mother got a WhatsApp message from a friend, and I can't exactly remember what was asked, but it's kind of out of the blue, and a mother went for it. And afterwards, when she spoke to her mom, she said to her, but I have a question now. This woman, because her mom was saying to her, but I never doubted it because she's such a nice person. And in real life, this person apparently is. But then she said to her mom, but has she ever spoken Afrikaans to you? And her mom said no. She said, now, why on earth would she suddenly send you an Afrikaans WhatsApp asking for oddball stuff? Where did that come from? And her mom was like, oh, geez, I never thought of that. But of course, then it was too late. They could still stop everything, but she's given information. She gave information that she shouldn't have given, and it could have been a very serious problem. I think that is the bottom line. You need to be naturally suspicious. If somebody just contacts you out of the blue asking weird questions, contacts you out of the blue with I remember I had a motorbike stolen, and I got a call from a policeman at a far off police station who told me that they've recovered the motorbike. It's there. They need to get it to a police station nearest to me, but they need me to pay 5,000 rand to get it. And I thought, but hang on a second. If SAPs are going to, they've recovered, so the onus is on them to get it back to the station nearest to me. And now they're asking me, I know it's going bad, but it's going that bad. So that's when I realized, okay, and of course I gave him a couple of choice words. So they've obviously got an in with the police department. They might even be policemen themselves, you don't know. So that they've got this all this information that they can contact people. And you literally shouldn't trust anybody. So if you get a message on WhatsApp asking you, phone that person and say to them, listen, or if you get an email and it's from somebody that you know, and you phone the person and say, listen, did you send me this email? Don't just click on it and start acting on it. But probably for you and I, it comes more naturally to be suspicious. Most people just, they just want to be nice, and this guy sounds so nice.
Well, there's an old proverb of trust, but check anyway.
Yeah.
Trust people, by all means. That is our nature, especially for people that are getting on in the years. They're looking for the engagement. They enjoy the engagement with people. They don't like the solitude. They want to trust people and believe the best in people. But check anyway. It doesn't do any harm just to check.
What about things like setting up a type of a bank alert and maybe a safe word or whatever with family or a very trusted friend, something like that?
I think the most important defense mechanism that the elderly people can have, and I use that term elderly respectfully because, as you can see, not really a spring chicken anymore either.
Same.
The most important thing that you can have is a child that sits down with you, explains the basics, shows you videos like this one, and says, please, if ever you're in doubt for a minute, even if you're thinking you're going to invest, make a huge amount of money and surprise me, don't surprise me. Pick up the phone and talk to me about it. Just, you don't have to ask for my permission. I'm just saying that I'm not going to laugh. I'm not going to chastise you. I'm going to help you. If you need me, phone. The same as a parent, I've always believed I don't want my children to ever get into a position where they think, oh, I don't want to tell dad. At all. I don't care what it is. I want the reaction to be, Wormwood, let me phone dad. Because then I can help you. So we've got to have that dialogue and open that pathway. Make our parents and our kids are the same. Make them aware that the internet isn't actually a safer place as you think it is. And if you have any hesitation or you're just unsure, pick up the phone and ask me. Even if you're absolutely confident, I'll take that call. Pick up the phone and ask anyway. I don't mind.
Rather be safe than sorry.
Exactly. And that second set of eyes can save you a lot of headache, a lot of heartache, and a lot of money.
Yeah, I think because that was an actual question that I wanted to ask, how families can protect their older loved ones without making them feel helpless or, like they are being babysat, or without taking them to town and basically yelling at them for being so daft. You need to teach them because they don't know.
You've got to engage openly about it. Show them series on Netflix or wherever it is on the Tinder Swindler. Show them series like Lulu LaRiche. It's entertaining, it's engaging, and it opens your eyes to what happens out there. And there are plenty of great documentaries and docuseries on exactly this that go into broader depths and inform in a sort of a docuseries kind of way that are also useful. You've got to reinforce that, and you've got to be sincere. If you are not willing to take that phone call from your parents, please don't go and promise it to them. Don't be a dick. You know, if you promise that to your parents, that I'm not going to laugh at you, but if you phone me and tell me Elon Musk is on the phone, I'm going to wake you up to a simple couple of realities and show you that it's not him. And he's not sending you a Tesla, and he doesn't need you to invest jack. And that new boyfriend on an oil rig or in the army in Qatar is really sitting in a bat cave somewhere in West Africa.
They do you hear this all the time from your celeb types. I saw, I think it was Steve Hofmeyer, now fairly recently, also again mentioning in a video that he is never going to ask you for money. So they use all these celebs and they contact people. And I mean, I've just mentioned him because I remember him. I remember that video where he said that. But there are so many celebs, and they're continuously talking about this. And it's not just your singers, your actors, that sort of stuff. It's also people, you know, like your more sort of bigger TikTokers and YouTubers and that sort of your social media types, or people who've got businesses, you know, they will use their info and contact people to say, you know, can you acquire some money there? They've got all these schemes, and this never ends. It's happening like all the time, all around us. And again, the moment anyone asks you for money or personal details or bank details, you ought to know this is now officially a scam, and end that call and talk to a friend, your children, whatever. Talk to someone. You know, don't be shy. Mention this. People need to know. Maybe you just need to hear that you were right. That is a scam. Maybe you just need to hear that.
You need that affirmation. It's got to be a two-way open dialogue. You know, you can't have your kids and your parents embarrassed or scared to talk to you about this. It is that important.
Craig, what would you say are the first signs, and we've just spoken about some of them, the first signs that a message or a mail might be a scam? What would make you start seeing red flags?
Hello, beloved. Hi, dear. Or
my dear.
Hi. Anything that starts with this profound bollocks is going in the bin immediately. Nobody is ever going to contact you about a financial transaction of any sort and say, hello, dear. Okay. If FNB or Nedbank or somebody start addressing things as hello, dear, we've got a big problem. Bin it. You can't win what you did not enter. I'll say it again. You can't win what you did not enter. You can't win a green card without entering the green card lottery. You can't win the Euro Lotto without a ticket. Yeah, it's not possible. You've got to be aware of those things. You've got to watch for those emails that start with, hi, dear, or I want you to bid on this tender, and it's got nothing to do with your mainstream business. You sell coffee. I want you to tender on streetlights. Brother, what do I know about streetlights? Oh, because you want me to go find out because you have already set up a fake website for a supplier. I don't think so. Literally, if you don't understand the email, if it sounds too good to be true, bin it. If it's legitimate, they'll make proper contact with you through a legitimate source.
I just thought of this this morning. I got a WhatsApp from an unknown number, that just said hello, just that. So I looked at this and I thought, okay, I'll give you 5 minutes to see if you say anything else. I gave it a couple of minutes and then I went back to it and I just blocked the number. Nobody, if they want to talk business with you, if they want to ask you something, if they want to ask you out, whatever, if they want to have any sort of conversation, they're not just going to say hi or hello and sort of leave it hanging, waiting for you to respond.
The hi and hello dear are all just scripts, and all I want to get is any response from you, even if the response is bugger off, I'm busy. It will lead to,
yes.
How are you today? I'm in jail. Why? Excellent. I'm so glad. I'm from California. It's a script and it just carries on. So as soon as I get hi or hello, my response is always the same. What's the scam? I'm busy. Cut to the nicety. Told me how you want to scam me and we can be done with it. And that normally gets a stock standard response and then a defensive one. No, this is not a scam. So, okay. Block, delete,
then
move on. Yep.
No.
Yeah,
I just don't bother.
have to be that suspicious. Yeah. If the sum
total, I've seen some of your screenshots. Sorry, Craig. No, I just wanted to say I've seen some of the screenshots that you made of conversations that you had with scammers to entertain yourself and basically all of us. And I mean, that's crazy. But for the viewer out there, don't do that. Just block the number and just ignore it. Don't reply. Craig's having his fun with him, but he knows exactly what he's doing. So, rather just carry on with what you're doing.
When you see things like that, I mean, yes, I have a weird sense of humor, and sometimes it just entertains me to annoy them a bit. But actually, behind the sense of humor, what I'm doing is working out the capability of the bot and what point it hands off to a human being. And if that human being is going to try and pivot to someone else, then I know it's a call center or a structured environment or a bait and lure environment. So we learn a lot about it. And sometimes I just enjoy winding them up. But I work in that industry and I kind of know how far I can push the boundaries. For normal people, delete, block, report, move on, carry on. There's nothing that they hate more than when you let them do their first pitch of, do you want to be a crypto? And then you just go block, report, because it sends that transcript to WhatsApp. WhatsApp will disable the account. Now they've got to get on a bicycle, go get another SIM card, start again. So you prevent somebody else becoming a victim this morning.
That's the last question that I want to get you, Craig. If someone thinks they've been scammed or they're just unsure, what should they do right away in order to try and limit any potential damage?
Okay, so first things first, if they parted with money and then realize something is wrong, do not phone your own bank first. I'll say it again. Don't phone your own bank first. You phone the bank to whom you sent the money. So if you bank with First National Bank and you sent it to a Nedbank account, do not phone FNB. Phone the recipient bank, Nedbank. Tell them their fraud line, what has happened. Ask them to pause the money. Then you can go to the police station, do the paperwork, file a report, and carry on. By phoning your own bank, you're just going to delay the process. So phone the recipient bank first. Secondly, report it. Even if it was an attempt, even if you think the police cannot help you, even if you don't want to get the money back, if you don't report it, the police is a business. It's a mechanism that is unfortunately driven by statistics. Yeah, gaan nie meer sê nie. It's driven by statistics. So if you don't report cyber crimes, They don't see it as a problem. They don't allocate resources. You
Okay.
think I'm not going to report it because nothing's going to happen. Well, if you do that, nothing ever will happen, because you haven't created the ability to say, here's a big problem.
Yes.
The statistics are incorrect. So even if you know it's not going to be solved, you report it anyway, so that it is recorded. Because maybe down the line, there are often bigger investigations, broader investigations against syndicates. You recover money with those syndicates and you don't know who it goes to, because the victims
Yes.
haven't come forward. So the money goes into a recovery fund, the end, where it could actually go back to victims. So you report it, or report it, one way or the other. If the guy at the charge office will not take a complaint, you tell him you want a detective. If the detective will not take a complaint, you ask for a branch commander. It is your right to make a complaint. They can close the docket if they want to, if they don't know how to do it or they can't do it, but it is your right to make that complaint and get a reference number anyway.
Okay. So in other words, don't just keep quiet about it. Tell people and report it. Get it official so that people know. Craig, thank you. I'm gonna stop there. I think we've conveyed a lot of info, and I trust a lot of handy info. And for the viewers, if you find this information handy, then please forward this video, send it on to your parents, send it on to your elderly neighbor, send it on to your grandparents, send it on to your friends, so that people become aware of these things. Because that's the only way, knowledge is the only way that you start making a dent in this, and that you start making people less less of a potential victim, so that these scammers can let them look elsewhere. And the more information you have, the better. Right?
Rian, there's actually a book I wrote about a year ago called Think Before You Click, which is a user guide to how scams work and how you get caught online and how to spot them before you get caught. And I always promised myself I'd write it in a simple style because it needs to be written. And when the first print run at 500 copies had been sold and distributed, I'd make it free. So there is a free copy of it available in PDF format. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you the PDF link so you can attach it to your website. And if people want to download it for their friends, family, whatever, and give it to them, it's done under Creative Commons license now. They may do so. And I'm also going to send 3 printed copies to you that you can give away in some sort of prize competition or whatever you like via the channel to 3 winners.
Thank you.
It's all about sharing that information. The broader we share it, the more we cut their base of victims off every day.
Okay, awesome. We're gonna do that. So what we'll do is we will add, Craig, we will add your website address to the video so that it's visible to the viewers as they go along. And then this link to this PDF document, Think Before You Click, we will add it in the description of this video so that you can click on it and download this PDF, and that will be free, and that's the information that you're looking for. So please, if you're still with us at this point, click on that link and go and download this document. Craig, thank you so much. It's always amazing talking to you. Thank you for sharing some of that amazing knowledge of yours with us. Hopefully, we can start making a bit of a dent, and uplifting people, empower them with some more knowledge, make them less easy victims in this respect. I think that'll be awesome if we can even just get it right with one person. We've won. For the viewers, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel, for more amazing content. And last but not least, if you want to know more about our loan operator training courses, there will be a link to that in the description below as well. Craig, that's it from me. Thank you so much for your time.
Riaan, thanks, buddy. It's always great engaging with you and your viewers. And again, thanks for having me on the show, bud.